Get around those obstacles and make room to create opportunities. You are listening to the Around the Way podcast. And now, your hosts, Kyle King and Kiana Williams.
Welcome to another episode of Around the Way podcast, where we help you get around your obstacles and find a way to redesign your life. We are on season 2. Welcome back, Kiana.
It's season 2. That's so crazy.
It is. It's so weird, you know, and we've been gone for so long.
Yeah.
We were gone for a few months. I feel like a lot has happened.
It has.
The Capitol riots, you know, crazy people running up in the Capitol and saying that they were invited there. A whole new year is here.
Yeah.
A whole new president is finally in office. Thank
That's
God. So there's just so many things that happen, right? Since we've been gone. Tom Brady is now officially the best quarterback ever, right? So I'm just excited to be back. We have so many things planned for this season.
Right.
And I do believe that this is going to be an amazing year, right? An amazing time. And guys, if you are listening, we have some guests lined up this year that are really going to be something special. Like something truly special. So if this is your first time listening to our podcast, we want to first welcome you to the podcast. And just like I said in the introduction, we want to help you literally get around your obstacles. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are focused on business, that are focused on entrepreneurship, that are focused on self-care, mental health, politics, a whole gamut of different things. But our main focus is to help you get around your obstacles and then find ways to redesign your life. I just want to ask you what you are right now, your profession, your marriage, all of the different things that you have in your life right now. Is that what you envisioned for your life 10 years ago? Because if it is not, you are on the right podcast. Because if your job isn't making you happy, you're on the right podcast. If your relationship isn't pouring into you and you want to be able to redesign it or just recreate some of the things, this is the podcast. Now, we're not going to lead you to leaving a relationship. We're not going to lead you to leaving a job, but we are going to spark something in you so that you can see yourself how God sees you. So we're going to talk about spiritual topics. We're going to talk about how, mental health. We're going to talk about self-awareness. We're going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship because that's what I do, baby. But we really want to help you holistically become the best version of yourself so that you can be able to impact our communities more. What do you got, Kiana?
I feel like what I really enjoyed about first season in terms of the feedback that we got is I feel like a lot of people expressed that listening to the podcast gave them the ability to have conversations that they don't have in their everyday life. I think a lot of people don't have the luxury of having people around them that know how to pour into them, that are self-aware, that can guide them towards anything other than like just normal everyday conversation. So I understand that we are exposing a lot of people to topics that they don't have access to otherwise. And
Exactly.
then, like you said, this is different than most podcasts that I've come across or that people, you know, share on social media because we're not really focused on the business. And it's more about who's running the business. What does that look like? How does that impact you? What are you bringing home from the business? What are you trying to keep at work? Because we say so often, like, you know, you have your business life, you have your home life, and hopefully those two things can be separate. But we find a lot of times they don't. It's hard to do that.
We're working on the business of the person, right?
Right.
So if you look at any plan, if you look at any business, the business obviously starts with the name. You know, do you know who you are, right? The business obviously has a mission statement and a purpose statement. Do you know your mission statement for your life? Do you know your purpose statement? Have you even identified your purpose? We talk about products and services, right? In businesses, but what value do you create? What gifts do you have in your personal life that can make you amazing? Like we talk about cutting edge or competitive advantage with businesses. What gives you that competitive advantage? What's your unique selling proposition when you're standing in front of people, right? We talk about analyzing the data of a business to be able to plan it moving forward. Well, have you analyzed a lot of your experiences? Have you analyzed your relationships? We talk about team building in business.
Right.
Do you understand the relationships and the environment in your life that is literally helping you either create more value or create more excuses on why you are in the circumstance that you're in, right? So a lot of the different things that we talk about in business, we can transfer over into life. Because we both believe if you're better in life, you're going to be better in all areas of your life. So a little bit of background. So again, my name is Kyle King, entrepreneur, author, coach, and I help you turn your story into three things: income, impact, and influence, right? Stories are why we live. Like history are stories, our legacies are stories, and our stories give us the ability to never be forgotten and transcends through time, right? So think of the movies that you've watched and like something that stuck to your ribs that you always remember. Think of that advice that you were given. It was probably set up from some type of story. Think about who you want to be in the future. That's a process to be able to get to that point. And then you're going to look back and be able to coach somebody on your story on how you created whatever it is that you wanted to do, right? So 6 years in education, 6 years in entrepreneurship. And that led me to where I am now, helping people through education, through entrepreneurship, learn how to unpack who they are with the help with Kiana, learn how to unpack who they are so that they can pack all of the beautiful things, turn those losses into lessons, turn those trials and tribulations into techniques, turn those mistakes into miracles, and help people manifest who they are and freaking monetize it as well. So that's what I'm doing. So if you have a book, if you have a course, if you have a story, if you have an experience, but you don't have capital or you're not feeling confident, or if you don't understand your calling, that triple C, baby, then I'm that guy. I'm that guy for you. Kiana, give them a little background of who you are.
All right. So my name is Kiana Williams. I am an author now.
Hey.
That's what's happened since the last season. And I'm a self-awareness coach. Life coach is what a lot of people kind of classify that as. So I specialize in helping people become more self-aware and helping them unpack their baggage and past experiences so that they can create more impactful relationships with themselves as well as with the people that they come in contact with.
Facts.
So my whole platform is based around helping you do the work that you don't know how to start.
Exactly.
And so it's really great. I feel like I'm so happy that we've finally come to a place where this podcast is an embodiment of like what both of us do.
Yeah.
It's like as you go through the season, you'll hear people touch on their story in almost every single interview. Mm-hmm. And then you also have like, you can see it. We have like emotion this season.
Oh my God.
We have like, you see self-limiting beliefs, you see confidence, you see, self-assurance. And then we see like curtains being pulled back. It's like every single episode is going to start in one way, and you see progression of the guests in almost every single episode. And
you guys are probably wondering, hey, this is the introduction. How do we know this? But the reality of it is that we waited to shoot this introduction podcast, this recording, until we actually had guests, right? So if you've listened to season 1, you probably love it. You probably love it. I'm not even going to say you probably love it or you probably hate it because I know you loved it. So. You're here. So one thing that you probably didn't recognize is that we didn't bring on guests. And the reason why we did that is because we wanted you guys to learn us. Mm-hmm. We wanted you to learn our perspectives, listen to, our knowledge, gain some wisdom from us. And then we wanted to be able to turn that wisdom into other people's stories and be able to use this opportunity to fellowship, to really share knowledge, and to really pour into not just them, but them pour into us. It's all about exchanging value. So we've recorded episodes, and look, let me tell you something. We have some really dope guests. And I mean, some people with accomplishments that literally you're probably dreaming of having. Yeah. But they still battle with things. Mm-hmm. We don't want to just bring people up and talk about how they became successful. We don't want to just bring people up and talk about their accolades. We don't want to just bring people up and talk about their business the whole podcast. And I promise you, we're not going to bring boring people on. We're not. We're not even going to air the episodes that are boring. I give you my word on that one, right? So it's about being able to provide you guys with value, being able to give you what you need. And then you guys, we need something from you though. We need you to like the podcast. We need you to rate it a 5-star rating. We need you to comment. Can you leave a comment for us? Then we want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then the last step, it's not too many steps, guys. We just want you to share it with somebody. Can you do that for us? Because we're not asking you to do business with us. It'll probably happen in the future though. We're not asking you to buy products. All we're asking you to do is share the message. All we're asking you to share what you've learned, whatever impacted you, to share it with somebody else.
And I'm going to say we've been very selective about who we brought on. There is a belief that the people that we stay connected to, that they serve as mirrors for us. I will say that in all of the interviews that we've done so far, I see a piece of me in almost every single person.
No, definitely.
And I encourage you guys, as you're listening, to see which parts of those people resonate with you too. The fact that you've stayed connected to this podcast means you see some of yourself in us.
Exactly.
And so I'm almost positive that you'll also see some of yourself in those people as well. I have a question for you, Kyle.
For sure.
So I think that season 2, I would say a title that in my head is like exposure. I think that's like a theme of season 2.
Exactly.
What is a title that you can give for the season that you're in your life right now?
Right now? Wow. A title? Clearing the land.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So a few weeks ago, I had an opportunity of going on my first guys trip, right? Not my first, so I guess my first productive guys trip, because in college and high school, we went on guys trips and we went there to, sneak and geek and drink and all kinds of other things that I'm not going to expose on this podcast. But anybody who knows me, you know me, baby. But so I think this season that I'm currently in is about clearing the land. And on this guys trip, we were doing a hike and we got to a place because we were like in the mountains in Boone, North Carolina. And we got to this place where they were getting ready to build somebody's house. And it was super cool because it was my first time, interestingly, seeing, I feel like when you're building a house, you always see the structure or like where they are, but you don't understand, like once they clear the land, now it gives the actual time for the machines and the people to start actually coming in there and putting the foundation down. So one thing that I've realized is that when I was sitting on the bench before, just kind of just looking out, because where the land was, it was like overlooking the mountains, beautiful piece of land. But what I was sitting there reflecting, I was like, wow, it's super cool because they told us that they're about to put a house here, but they had to literally even out all the land and clear it. Because they were telling us before it looked like this, it was just trees and all kinds of different things. So it leads me to my point. Before I realized before I could have what I want, that house that God is building for me, that woman that God is preparing for me, that relationship, that, marriage, that business, that vision that God has in store for me, I needed to clear some stuff from my life. I think my thing is when you realize that you have things, people, habits, behaviors, belief systems that no longer serve you, but are continuing to service you, you're going to...
Hold on, Kyle.
Word. So when you realize that all of these different things do not serve you, but they're still servicing you, it'll break down your vehicle. It'll break down your vehicle, right? So before I can pour the foundation, the concrete, before I can pour and start building and the drywalling process, that's like the last piece. Yeah. You got to clear some stuff. So this season is all about not reorganizing relationships, because what that means is that they're still in your life. Yeah. It's not all about, compartmentalizing belief systems, because that means that you still kind of believe those things.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's about literally cutting the branches, cutting the branches off, becoming new, and being restored through God and just being a better person. So this is one thing that I am going to share, just a vulnerable moment. So this is the first fast that I actually made it through. And I've lied in the past with people that I've done fast with, including you, that I made it through and I may have fallen short. And I just was not willing to be vulnerable and expose it because I didn't want to be judged, or, I didn't want to, let somebody else down. But at the end of the day, I was just really lying to myself. This fast that I just got off of, it was only 7 days, y'all. But it was the most refreshing 7 days of my life. And I think it made me a new person. And I know, there's probably somebody on, oh, it's only 7 days, but you don't recognize my story.
Yeah.
Like, I've been battling with things for a whole decade. I've had self-limiting beliefs for the last, 20 years, about 2 decades. There was, different things that I was struggling with in regards to getting over my past relationships. There were things that, people in my life that needed to go quickly.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because when you start to move more with God, I feel like puts you through a storm to really see how serious it is that you are to move with God.
Yeah.
And then after you move, he rewards to only prepare you for the next storm, right? So that's what I've been going through. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I feel clear. I feel clarity. And it was really because I was able to remove things, and I give all credit to God for that.
Yeah. I think it's so amazing. 2 things. When you create distance from God, it's noticeable. But it's easy to look past. So it's like me having this horrible day or this horrible series of days has nothing to do with the fact that like I haven't prayed in 3 weeks or like
3 years.
Yeah, like it has nothing to do with that. Like I'm just having a bad day and like everybody is against me.
Facts.
And like, oh, like why am I not making money? Why is this going wrong and that going wrong? And then but when you get connected to him, it's so easy to see this is why all these other things weren't working. Like I was going off on my own accord and I thought I had it together. Like I thought I was connected enough. Like maybe it's not what I used to be, but it's enough. Like I know God is here still and he knows my heart and like all this stuff. But it's like it's so, I don't know.
Can I challenge you?
Yeah.
So I think my story was opposite. So I made the most money when I wasn't connected to God.
But
and now I make the least money when I am connected to God. And it's so interesting because I feel like God will take you through seasons and he'll show you things, right? So I got, I was doing, easy 5-figure months, easy, like literally easy. And it got to a point where I saw like it was kind of slowing down for me, right? And what I recognized is that I was like, I need God. I need more. And it wasn't that I needed more money. It wasn't that I needed more clients. I needed God, and I didn't even recognize it. So what God did, he's playing with me right now. He was like, all right, now you're connected to me. I'm taking everything because I don't want you to get disconnected to me again. And then I give you everything and then you forget where you got it from.
right.
So I think what has happened and what I'm reflecting on now is that I'm not getting the leads like I thought I should get, because it's not one of those things. It's like you can be inconvenient with God and then you're still going to get rewarded. Right. So I really feel like I'm going through a season now where it's like, nah, you're going to show your commitment to me. And then I'm going to take care of your bills. I'm gonna look out for you.
Yeah.
You got enough, but I'm not going to give you what you know you deserve with me until you come with me. There's another song that I'm listening to now, literally every day, is Make Room by Jonathan Reynolds. And it talks about in the song, he's super dope. And that's another thing that I've implemented is like, I haven't listened to secular music, even past the fast.
There's a song, I think it's by him too, called Moving On. I want you to listen
Yes,
to that.
that's
like
a new
that
one. Yeah. And it's interesting because in the song, it talks about like literally my behaviors, my habits, my relationships, my friendships. Like I will move all of those over to make room for you. And it literally talks about like anything in my life. Like I want you to know that like there's no competition, Lord. Like there's nothing that is going to stand in front of or sit next to me without like you understanding that this is your place. And I don't want you to just sit next to me or walk in front of me or walk behind me or walk next to me, whatever. I want you to understand that you live within me. So everything that I do has to speak God. Like everything that I do, and even cursing, like I haven't even cursed on any of the podcasts this year. And I'm really trying to do better with like the language that I listen to, because it's going to be focused on the language that I create and produce within God's world.
Yeah. It's two things that you said that I really appreciate. I think the first one, first I just want to say like, to the last point that you just made, it was so cute when we were at a restaurant and then Carter just started saying like hallelujah, hallelujah.
Facts.
Like, that's just like such the embodiment that like he wasn't saying that before, but
Nah.
like it's in his head too, and so it just naturally like he's in the booth just like
just singing hallelujah. I'm like, what are you what is this?
I think the other thing that I wanted to say like is when you think about what you were just describing, like I had so much more money and like all this stuff. The enemy so often comes in the form of the things that we like to see.
Facts.
And he's like cloaked in these opportunities, and like he might look like an attractive woman, or like a an opportunity to make all this money, or to travel, or like to do all these things, and it's so hard.
Let me tell you this, what I've recognized. The enemy moves with ease, but God moves with security.
What do you mean?
The enemy, I feel like anything easy, like literally easy, that is terrible for you is the enemy. So like when you're making money with ease,
something ain't right.
Like, because that's not God. Because I feel like when you're doing things with ease, now, and this may be controversial, right? You could also say that is God, but I have a different story. My story is different. Everything that has come easy to me, I give credit to me and my ability. Right. So it's kind of like, I delivered on that podcast, so that's why I got all these like clients, right? Yeah. Or I did that, so duh, like I'm valuable, so why not? Yeah. But I feel like it's not secure though. So it's kind of like you have this security. To me means you're not worried about anything, because ease is like it keeps coming.
Right.
But what if it stops coming? Then what? Security is like, nah, like God built this system that is going to continue to flow like water. Ease is that I can jump into a pool and it will always be there. But what if they drain the pool?
Right.
God is a river.
Right.
You may hit a rock, but I'm still going to flow with you, baby.
And I think that's so hard for people to understand too. It's like, I love what you said about maybe the money is not as abundant as it was without him, but you still have enough. And I feel like a lot of times that's how I feel, and people don't get it. It's hard for someone that's not connected to God to see what I mean. Like I've always like trusted in him, and then it works out somehow. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how, like I have no money, my bills are coming out, my account might be negative, and then all of a sudden it's like this random check appears from like when I worked in the school system, and it's like, where did this come from? Or like a refund check comes off. Like I don't know, it's just like weird stuff, and it's like I feel like that's favor. It is.
And I think it's interesting with you saying that, because we had one of our guests come on and they were talking about how, they're in one of the worst times of their life right now because they're not making profit, but they just seem to continue to get checks from random places, or, it's so interesting that I'm ready for this season.
Me too.
I really, really am ready for this season, because I feel like this season is so different from the perspective of getting into the hearts of the people instead of learning the strategies from people. And it's not necessarily what people can give you. I think Oprah had a quote, or no, I think it was Maya Angelou, like people will forget the things that you've done for them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And I think every single guest, we've created a safe space, an environment for them not to feel like they have to be on, but to turn off the professional so that they can give like themselves the opportunity for once to turn on the person.
And it's harder for some than others. Y'all
definitely
see it. And it might start like, this seems like an entrepreneurship podcast, but by the end,
they cracking.
And I want to introduce you guys that we have a new addition this season.
To the Red Box.
The Red Box. The
Facts.
Red Box is filled with some tough questions.
No, literally.
And
a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the shifting point in the interview. So once you get to the Red Box, it's going in a different direction. Yeah,
because we wanted to be able to have you guys get to know the person on the beginning, or even really see, like Kiana says, kind of the transition from like somebody.
They're all successful.
Really. Like we open up, like introduce yourself, talk about who you are, accolades, all these different things. And you see like, oh snap, like this is a dope person to listen to. But as the story progresses and as literally the podcast progresses, you don't just hear from a professional, you get to know a human being.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think even the media has dehumanized people, right? We dehumanize people, so you don't really get to be, like empathize with actual stories. So this is the podcast of stories, self-awareness, success stories, and just it's gonna really be able to. I was looking for another S, but I couldn't find it. But it's really gonna help you get comfortable, feel yourself, see yourself in other people. And then really, yeah, like it's dope.
Honestly, because we divulge stuff in here too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm so excited for you guys. So this is what we need you guys to do, because this is the introduction. We will be posting every Monday and Thursday. Every single Monday and Thursday. If you are on our channel on YouTube, if you're looking at us, if you're viewing us, like subscribe, share, comment below what you want to see. Comment below who you would want us to bring on to interview. You're gonna hear from some really dope people.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear from some interesting human beings, but we're not just vetting people because they are millionaires.
Right.
We literally handcrafted and like hand selected these individuals because they have something within them that you guys need to see. Okay. So if there's something that you guys need, if there's something that you guys want, if there's something that you guys feel, we need you to comment.
And after you start hearing the questions in the box, if you have any questions that you'd like to add to the red box, comment those too.
Nah, that's solid. That's solid. And as somebody else answers the question, we want you guys to answer the question.
Yeah.
Like it could be online or it could be just in your home. We want you to be able to kind of answer the red box questions as well. And if you are somebody super dope, if you have a super story, we would like for you to introduce yourself, like on Instagram. Send us a DM, send us a comment on YouTube, and maybe you could be up on our podcast.
Come up around the way.
Literally. So again, I am Kyle King. This is Kiana Williams. This is Around the Way podcast. Our focus, our aim, our mission is to help our audience get around their obstacles so that they can find a way to redesign their life. We look forward to seeing you guys in episode 1.